crazy car payments. Let's get into it.
Grace, what's the highest payment you've ever seen?
1784.
Demetrius, what's the highest payment you've ever seen?
Oh, like 2100.
Sheesh. Roy, what's the highest car payment you've ever seen?
It was $1,958.
Jesus. Leslie, what's the highest payment you've seen?
1400.
Hey guys, what's the highest payment y'all have ever seen?
2435.
March?
3200.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Bailey,
Yes.
what's the highest car payment you've seen?
I wouldn't have a clue because I'm a marketing manager.
Patrick,
Sir,
what's the highest payment you've seen?
highest payment I've seen, probably like 1900.
Bro, what's the highest car payment you've ever seen?
2,500 and you can be next.
Guys, car payments are insane. Like, I know so many people that have crazy car payments right now, and it's getting worse every single year. Like, for whatever reason, during COVID, there was the shortage and people were paying like double sticker price for cars. And then now you're seeing it all over the place. So, man, this is crazy.
Man, another crazy car payment. This one just over $2,000, but I gotta tell you, from the grills to the guts, this one's different. It's worth every penny. The way you will feel when you're inside this car is a little bit different than expected.
The way you feel when you get inside this car makes you want to pay over $2,000 every single month. I mean, this is psycho. So this is where they're playing to your emotions. They want you, they being car dealerships and car manufacturers, they want you to feel like if you don't have that Escalade, if you don't have that BMW, if you don't have that brand new Toyota, whatever, then you are not as cool as the person who does. And this is how they get you. So they're playing your emotions. They want you to go sit in it and drive it. I sold used cars for like 6 months. And that was the first thing they tell you. When somebody gets in the lot, you want them to touch it. You want them to feel it. Then what you want them to drive it. And that's why they always say, hey, let's take it for a spin, because once you get behind the wheel, you smell that new car smell. It smells wonderful. And you want to have that car, and you feel like if you have that car, it's gonna make you cooler. It's gonna make you special. It's gonna make people be impressed with you. But that is a lie, guys. That is a lie. And I want you to hear it here, and I want you to remember that every time that you think that your car is not good enough.
A car payment is literally the number one wealth killer, and it shows.
My son bought his dream car at 21, a Chrysler 300. And I bought my first dream car, I think at 40, which was a Lexus ES 350. And his car payment at the time was about $600. And my car payment at the time was $537. I want to repeat that. I was making 6 times more than my son made, and his car payment was $70 more per month than I was paying. He also couldn't contribute to his 401k. He also couldn't contribute to the employee stock purchase program. Why? Because the bulk of his net income was dedicated to a depreciating asset. Listen, there is nothing wrong with having your dream car, but it should not hinder you from preparing yourself for financial independence in the long term. I drive my dream car now, right? In 22, I bought a Cadillac Escalade. And guess what? Just like my boy Quay is saying, it becomes just your new normal. It's just a car that I get in. If I had to do both of those things over again, I would have kept my Malibu that I was paying $237 for, paid it off, and I wouldn't have any car payments, and all that money would be able to go to investing. Sometimes it's not God that doesn't provide. It's us that don't properly allocate.
He is exactly right. This one thing he said that I think is important, y'all. He mentioned there that sometimes it's not that God doesn't provide, it's that we don't properly allocate. And I think that is super important for us to remember as we're thinking about the car that we drive. Okay? God is providing for us in a lot of different ways, and we need to remember that. But we have to be responsible with what we're given. And he was talking about his son has a higher car payment than him, couldn't afford to pay for his 401k, couldn't do the company stock purchase plan. Those are all important things that at the end of the day, it's way more important if you invest in those things than it is a car. He also said, and this is in that Escalade video we watched, where they said, talked about the feelings that it invokes driving that Escalade, and the way that it looks and the way that you feel when you're sitting in it. But what he said there is that, and he has an Escalade, so he's speaking from experience, is that after a while, it's just the car that you drive. It's the car that you get into, you crank it up, and you're putting your hands on the steering wheel. It's taking you to work, back. It's taking you to wherever you're going and back, taking you to the grocery store. You're putting your groceries in it the same as you did your old car that was paid off. So you got to remember this whenever you're feeling those emotions. I have to remind myself of this constantly. I used to have a Toyota truck. It was a Toyota Tundra. It had a lift on it, had big knobby tires. I always thought those looked really sharp, and it did. It looked really sharp. And did I feel cool driving it? Sure. But guess what? When I got that car, my gas was double what it used to be. My insurance was double what it used to be. The cost to replace the tires on that sucker were triple what it used to be. They're insane. They're like almost $3,000 for a set of 4. It's nuts. But that was one of those decisions where I could look back on it after I was sitting in that for a while and say, hey, this gets me there just like my old car. I sold that thing. I got a paid off Toyota Camry, which I'm still driving today. And I've stated then, I'm going to give you some tips on how to make that a more comfortable, better feeling ride. So that way you don't have to invest all the money into, getting something brand new. You can have a brand new feel without having that payment.
This TikTok was by a car dealership. What do you think they were trying to achieve?
What is your car payment?
$1,386.
Hey, sir, what is your car payment?
First one's $1,445.
What's the other one?
That's $1,161.
Look at that number right there. That's my car payment.
Dang! I can tell you exactly what they're trying to achieve. Look, everyday normal people, this is just normal.
Right.
$1,300, $1,400 for a car payment. Look, it's normal now. The one guy in the red shirt, he was spending $2,500 a month on 2 separate cars.
That's crazy.
You have to also couple that with all the gas that goes into those vehicles, the insurance payments, the gap insurance, the interest rate, et cetera, et cetera. There's so much money we're spending on these things that then become a prison. Now, I'm sure all of their cars are nicer than my 10-year-old Toyota, right? And yet, you know what is nicer than all of that? The freedom that I don't have a single car payment. And so this isn't a judgment of these people. This is a judgment of a system that is fundamentally broken. If I have a car payment, it means I couldn't afford the car in the first place.
Amen. If I have a car payment, it means I could not afford the car in the first place. That's what we have to remember. And it is a difficult pill to swallow. It really is. Because not everybody has the money to put down on a brand new car.
I just had a customer who came in on our 2022 Dodge Charger that we have in stock. He was only 20 years old, but he had everything put together. Credit union check in hand, he was ready to go. So of course, before I even get into anything else, I'm like, you know what, let me just pull up the car and make sure you drive it, make sure you love it, and we'll take it from there. He goes on a test drive, comes back, loves the car. The next step is trying to secure insurance. He told me that before he got here, he called a few places and he could not get a decent number on a policy. He even told me that some insurance companies wouldn't even give him an actual quote because of his age. He's only 20 years old and it's a Dodge Charger RT. And you guys already know Dodge Chargers, Challengers, these cars get stolen nonstop, like literally nonstop. I told him, listen, don't even trip about the insurance. I'll call, get a few quotes, and we'll put everything together. Bruh, I put all his information in the system for insurance. The quote came back at $2,900 a month. $2,900 a month for the Dodge Charger RT. Like, I get it, he's 20 years old, but $2,900 a month is absolutely crazy. Drop in the comments how much you guys pay monthly for insurance.
It's a great question. How much do you pay for insurance? Yeah, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Because one thing that most people don't consider is, hey, if you get that $70,000 new SUV, not only are you going to have your payment on that, whatever you're financing, right? But you're also going to have to pay gas for that vehicle, which you knew about. You're also going to pay insurance, which you knew about. But what you probably didn't think about is a car that's worth 2, 3, 4 times whatever you were driving before. It's probably going to cost twice what your insurance is, right? Because the cost to replace it is significantly more. So think about that. But $2,900 a month is insane. I know you want that Dodge Charger, but that is not a good idea financially.
Maturing is realizing that having a car payment is not a flex. You're paying $600, $700, $800, $900 a month for a Chevy Cruze or a Ford Focus. That is not a flex. You are the loser of the game. But if you have a reliable car and you're paying $0 a month, you are God's favorite. You don't know how blessed you are. You are blessed beyond measure. And I just want to emphasize having no car payments and having a reliable car. I'm not talking about the people who drive a lemon. I'm talking about having a reliable car and no car payments.
We're going to get into that in a little bit. But yeah, the flex really is having no car payment. Like if you can get there, guys, where you don't have a car payment. So if you have a car right now and you're making payments on it, get it paid off and then be content. Be content. It's very difficult. So Philippians 4 talks about contentment. Paul says, I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether being well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So guys, this is wisdom from the Bible. If you can learn to be content with what you have, life is going to be much better. And guys, the enemy will sneak up on us and try to make us feel like we'll be a better person, we'll be cooler, we'll have some kind of status if we can have these certain things. But you've got to fight it, because this is a wealth killer. And it's one of the biggest mistakes people will tell you that they made is buying that car and getting those car payments. It's a major mistake. So fight it with all that you have.
When I tell you that your car payment is keeping you broke, it is. I want you to realize that one of the best things you can do for yourself is, one, not have any payments, but two, especially on cars, do not have a car payment. Save up, pay cash, do whatever you need to do to never be in a situation where you have a car payment ever again. I want to show you with numbers what I mean by that. Pull up an investment calculator and plug in these numbers. Let's say you are 25 years old. I just searched the average car payment right now. It is $734 in 2024. Plug in that right now you have zero savings, okay? You are 25 years old. You are going to invest $734 in the good growth stock mutual funds, and this is how much you will have by retirement. If you were to never add a single dollar more ever again, by the time you retire, you will have more than $5 million. And let's say we're half wrong, okay? For the naysayers, I can already hear you guys, where are we gonna get $5 million? You're going to invest in good growth stock mutual funds, but let's say I'm half wrong. You would still have $2.5 million. That's more than what most people have, and you are throwing that money away every single month in a car payment. That is literally you taking a car payment, just investing it. That's all it is. If you take anything away from this video, it is to never have a car payment. That is your one goal. Moving forward, you should aim to never have a car payment ever again.
So that is the point of this video, guys. If you don't take anything else away from this video, do not have a car payment. Fight the urge to go out and get a new car, because it is a major wealth killer. What she was talking about is real. I'm going to walk you through it here in just a minute. But
car loans, car payments, it's my worst type of debt. If we had a rate debt, for me, it's the most annoying. You know, student loans, you get a degree, it's stupid. That's probably second.
Sure.
Credit cards, people are like, we pay it off every month, whatever. So if we rate the debt, car loans for me, it's the dumbest
and it's
debt
the
that
one
you
we
could be
justify
in.
the most.
Mathematically speaking, when
It
you
is the
just
dumbest.
look at your finances, it's the dumbest thing that you can do with your money. It really is, because you're borrowing money, paying interest on something that's going down in value. It's not an asset, and it's for what?
she nailed it. It is one of the dumbest things that you can do with your money. The point about it's a depreciating asset is so key. When you buy a house, typically it's going to go up, right? But every time when you buy a car, it's going to go down. I mean, if you buy a brand new Honda Accord, Camry, whatever it is, like fill in the blank, you're going to pay $40,000, $30,000, $60,000. And then in just 7 years from now, it's going to be worth half of that. Half. Literally. Or worse. So you're borrowing money, and this is why people get upside down. You hear people talk about that. Oh, I'm upside down on my car. That means that they owe more than the car is worth. So if you get a loan, especially if you don't get a good deal when you buy a car, you get a loan and then you're paying, and then especially if you go out beyond 3-4 years, right? A lot of people are getting car loans for 5, 6, 7 years, and you're paying this payment that feels more comfortable. But at the end of the day, whenever you go to get something new, that car feels old again to you. You're going to be upside down in that. And then what do you have to do? You got to take whatever you owe and add it to your new car. So here's the price. The average new car right now is $48,000. It's a lot of money. That's average. Okay. The average payment in 2025 is $742. The average interest rate. Now this depends on your credit score, but if you have a really good credit score, 6.5% is average. If you have a low credit score, 15.75 is average. And you can find videos of people who are paying 25, 30% on a car, which I believe is thievery, but people are paying it. And some of these have payments that are going out for 10 years. You can find that kind of thing too. It is insane and it should be illegal, but it's not. So you got to really think about, is this worth it? And what we were seeing earlier, I'm going to dive into some of the numbers for you real quick. All right, so we're here at calculator.net. What we're going to look at is a starting amount of $0. We're going to look at the average term of a car note is 5.5 years. Okay. 5.5. Okay, the average return of the S&P 500 is 10%. And we're going to contribute what the average car payment is. Okay, so the average car payment is $742. And so if you start with nothing and you invest $742 at a 10% return rate, then you're going to get back, you're going to have $64,122 at the end of those 5.5 years. Guys, this is insane, but this is what you need to be thinking about, because you could either pay that to somebody else, or you can pay yourself and be in a much better situation. Okay, so you're going to have that ending balance of $64,000. Now let's say that in 5.5 years, if you can just hold on for that 5.5 years, and then you buy you a really nice used car for $30,000, okay, what does that leave you with? That leaves you with $34,000. So we're going to go back into our calculator. We're going to say $34,000. That's what we've got left. And then we're going to keep making that payment to ourselves. All right. 20 years later, we've got $761,000. Okay. So if you start this whenever you're 40 years old, okay, you wait 5 years, so at 45, and then you retire at 65, this is what you're going to have left. Okay. That is just from a car payment. Now let's say that you're 20 years old and you're doing this. All right, so now all of a sudden, you've got 40 years to pay yourself that $742. $5 million. And guess what? You can take out that same $30,000 every 5.5 years to refresh your car. Okay. You can also sell your old car, so you won't even need quite $30,000, right? You might only need 25. That $30,000 car in 5 years might be worth $5,000 or $10,000. Who knows? But you see my point. You can really set yourself up for a nice future just by not allowing yourself to have instant gratification, by delaying the gratification and investing that money. So you're paying yourself instead of paying Toyota or Chevy or what, you name the manufacturer, but you can see here what this will do for you financially over the long term. And you might say, oh, I can't get 10%. Well, 10% is the average return of the S&P 500 over the last 50 years. Okay, and you say, oh, well, with inflation. Okay, well, let's adjust this for inflation. Adjusted for inflation, S&P returns 8%. That's $3.1 million in today's dollars that you'll have whenever you retire at 65. That is insane. This is what I wanted you guys to see because this is super important for you as you're considering what to do. So Morgan Housel, who wrote The Psychology of Money, talks about the man in the car paradox. And in this paradox, he describes his experience as a valet driver. And as he was parking these really nice cars, Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, he would always look at the car and say, man, I would really love to drive that car. And he realized that one thing he never does is goes, man, that guy driving that Ferrari is super cool. I want to be like him. Never does he do that. And probably if you think about it, you do the same thing. You see a car driving down the road and you think, oh man, that's a super nice car. I would love to be driving that car. So instead of thinking about the person being cool, you think, oh, that would make me cool. But we don't always think about it from the standpoint of the person driving. We don't care about them at all. So if you can remember that whenever you drive that car, nobody's going to think you're cool for driving that car. They're going to think that they would be cool if they were driving that car. That can help you really put things into perspective as far as the vehicles that we drive. We need to view our vehicles as something reliable to get us back and forth. And that is why investing in a car that is reliable, used, inexpensive, and will be good for a long period of time is a good way to view this. Okay, that's the best way to think about it financially. So escape the trap of feeling like, oh, because my car is 6 years old, I need something now reliable. Your car isn't any less reliable because it's older. But if you feel like it is, sell it. Get you a used car that is good for going hundreds of thousands of miles, like a Honda or a Toyota. And then keep that as long as you need to in order to hit your goals. It's super important that you do that. Here's Morgan himself, and he kind of talks a little bit about the way we think about this.
A high-end Toyota is a nicer car than an entry-level BMW. The high-end Toyota is filled with things that are good for you. Comfy seats, good sound system, moonroof, whatever it is. The entry-level BMW is purely bragging rights. You're paying for the emblem. That's all you're paying for. To show other people, like, look at me, look how great I am. If you can just dispose of that in your life with the need to impress strangers, that is a financial asset on your balance sheet that could literally be worth millions of dollars to you. Just lacking the need to impress strangers.
Lack the need to impress strangers. So we've got one more video, and then I'm going to give you some tips on how to improve that old car that you're going to buy in order to make your millions.
Let's say someone is balling on a budget.
Balling on a budget. Okay.
Yeah. Let's say they got 10K. 10K on a used vehicle. Give me like 3 or 4 options.
10K used vehicle, 3 or 4 options.
10K or less, yeah.
10K or less, okay. I like that. Okay. So you want to buy it somewhere in the southern United States, so we don't have rust, or maybe California, pretty much anywhere in California, or, where there's no rust. I would do number 4 as a Honda Civic with a footnote. Make sure it's not been, pimped out or whatever. Young kids used to do those things. Pimped out. Is pimped out a thing? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's not a thing anywhere. It used to be like Pimped Das Auto or whatever. Anyway, old Volkswagen commercial. Wow. Anyway, moving on.
Wow.
So Honda Civic, and I would say probably 2005, 2008, 9-ish. You're probably gonna get those anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. Gonna have some miles on it, but that's okay. Just have it looked at before you. Any of these cars have looked at before you buy it. I would say number 3 would be a Toyota Corolla. Good cars.
Yeah. Good
Again, 2005-ish to 2009, 10-ish. You're going to be fine. If you get one a little bit newer in that price range, great. Good cars. Last a long time. You could go with a, again, they're all going to be in these same year models, 2005-ish to 2010-ish. Except for this one, Honda Accord. You want to stick with the 4 cylinders. Do not buy the 3.5 liter V6. They had issues. So as long as it's a 4-cylinder Honda Accord 2005, 2010-ish, great cars.
What kind of issues?
They just had burning oil ring issues.
Oh, okay.
So we stick away from those. So the 4 cylinders are fine though. So Honda Accord 2005, 2010, going to be good. Going to be that same price range. That's going to probably be 6,000, 6,500 to 10,000. And then I would do number 1 would be like a Toyota Camry / Avalon. Avalon be a little higher end Camry. Those are probably going to be a little higher mileage, but great cars. Again, you're going to be 2005, to 2009, maybe even 2004 would be fine. Just make sure you have them looked at. These are all good cars. They're really, really good cars. They last a long time. We have people down here that still drive those cars, and they're in great shape and last a long time. So those are good budget cars under 10K that you're not going to have problems with, as long as you have it looked over beforehand and just get a little once over on it before you buy it.
Yeah, that's great advice. So the car that I bought was a 2016 Toyota Camry. I believe I paid $11,000 for it. It had about 150,000 miles on it. I took it to a shop. I had them look it over. They made sure there were no oil leaks. They made sure it wasn't, driven ragged or anything like that. Made sure the transmission was great. They checked to make sure that everything was good with it. They did a huge inspection on it. The one thing that they did tell me is going to need new brakes soon. So not long after I bought it, I did have to replace the brakes. And outside of the brakes and regular oil changes, I haven't had to do anything to that car in the last 2 years. Okay. It's been a great car, but one thing that I really love about the new cars is some of the technology. So my car had Bluetooth in it. That was really important to me, but it didn't have like navigation. It didn't have Apple CarPlay or any of that stuff. But you know what? I spent $150 for a wide screen, screen that I could install into the car. Okay. I put that in. Now my car has Apple CarPlay. I can play all my music through it. It connects wirelessly to Apple CarPlay, which, newer cars don't even do that always. But that one small upgrade made my car feel like new. And instead of having a little bitty screen in the middle, it now has a big screen. It really improved the look and the feel of the car. And that one little hack that cost me $150 made my car much, much more enjoyable for the drives that I take, which I don't drive a lot, but all the trips we take in that car are much more enjoyable now because of that simple change. So that's one thing you can do to make it feel like a newer car. But if you have any questions, drop it below. But I hope today that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'm a small channel, so that helps me out a lot. But we're going to be continuing on this journey to make gains, and I really appreciate you guys.